Anna. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to kick it off, do you mind giving a brief intro of who you are and how you use interactive demos at Skipio?
Hi, I'm Anna Wendt. I'm the product marketing manager at Skipio. We are a sales engagement tool for locally owned businesses and franchises to reach out to their leads and help them get those leads to the next step in buying, which is usually scheduling like a consultation that eventually leads to selling them a service. So the primary way we use interactive demos is to help our sales team not do the what does it look like demos that often many software companies end up doing if they don't have a free trial or freemium product. And so it gives people a way to look at the product, kind of click through the product in a controlled environment without having to provide a free trial or freemium product or anything like that. But in addition to that, we've also found it, or I guess maybe I've mainly found it helpful for sharing information about product releases and any updates in our app with our existing users. So linking to short demos or like short tours of our new features or even small updates, those things usually get the highest click-through rates in our emails.
That's awesome. First of all, love the description of just getting rid of those, maybe like, what does your product do demos? Hopefully, getting the most qualified people right to sales. And then I'd love to dive in a little more of that product onboarding use case. So it sounds like mostly in email campaigns for new features, kind of when there is a big feature launch, showing customers, hey, here what's coming, or do you use it all in like the onboarding flow or nurture emails as well?
We use it honestly in most of those steps. So, yeah, in for like brand new customers in our like onboarding and like initial nurturing emails, to, like make sure they're getting into the product. We use them there to introduce them to, I guess, not that any of the features are really complicated, but any new software can appear daunting at first. And so being able to give people, a more in-depth look at how they can specifically use a feature to solve a problem or to do something. And then definitely, we do monthly newsletters with all of our existing customers that have been pretty successful as far as like open rates and like how long people are spending working at them. So anytime we're teasing something that's coming soon, we might include like a really short tour to show them like, hey, this is what's coming next, get them used to seeing it. And then once it launches, um, either in that newsletter or if it's a big enough thing where we're doing like a larger release process, then that, we'll get its own dedicated email and we'll have pop-ups in our app and we'll almost always link to a Navattic tour in those as well.
That's really cool to hear also not just in the email campaign, but actually in product. Cool. Well, I want to take a step back and talk about actually building out these demos, especially those new feature launches, because when something is a new feature, sometimes you haven't gotten the feedback yet from customers or prospects. Like, what are those aha wow moments? How do you work with maybe product or other members of your team to decide what you show in those new feature launch demos?
Ultimately, I try to focus on the specific use case and capability. Like, what will people actually do with a tool or feature? Because even though it's like we don't necessarily have, we might have some beta information um, from certain users if we've done that. But like you said, like in some cases, like you don't know yet exactly how something is going to get used, but we usually have done a good job historically uh, of figuring out like this should be able to allow them to do this, or we heard enough feedback initially that a feature is going to help someone to do this. So my goal with those tours is to then put that into as much context as we can right away and show people how they would use a specific feature, because I really want our tours to fill in the blanks and connect the dots for them when it comes to a capability that they get with Skipio. Because if we're tying it to capabilities, then that's easier for them to see, oh, this is going to solve my problem with outreach. This is going to help me automate that type of follow up I need to do.
So you kind of predicted my next question. I was going to say, sounds like you're building out a lot of different demos for a lot of features. What do you do to maybe help like speed up that demo process or to go from idea to demo built?
I honestly just kind of go for it. At least in my, I built enough now that I usually duplicate a past demo. Um, just because it's like some of the buttons and the wording are there. I don't necessarily have to, like build from scratch. And it's like, I've created a flow of the kind of stories we're telling. So then I can, then replicate that with something new. And then I've been with Skipio for like almost like 5.5 years now. So it's like I've gotten really good at like telling our product's story, at least as it currently stands. It's always changing. And so having that experience helps. Being super familiar with our product really helps. That it's like, okay, I know our customers, I know our best users. And it's like, how would they want to see this? And then trying to build that.
I think the point about duplicating, I'm always such a fan of duplicating when possible because to your point, you have a structure there. It's not starting from ground zero. And then if you know your customers, you understand them well, like understanding what's going to resonate with them seems to naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, I definitely have had learning curves at times with like, I mean, most writers, like we can get a little verbose. We want to make it so clear that we're trying to, sometimes include a lot of steps. Like I've had demos and like tours that have started at like way more than 10 steps. And then, but what's nice about that though is I get it all out there and then I can go back and be like, okay, what if this is actually necessary? Where can I combine things? What can we gloss over for now because it's not important for the audience that is going to see it? And then pare it down. And then suddenly it's like, oh, I have like an 8 to 10 step tour. It's going to take them, if they're going fast, a minute max to get through this.
Okay, you've already given a lot of really awesome tips for someone building, but just curious, let's say you had a brand new team member who was tasked with building out an Navattic demo. What is maybe one or two tips you'd give a Navattic newbie?
I guess as a newbie, build fast and just get in there. Simply doing it is what teaches you how to do it. Um, I sometimes will kind of like draft something in Notion, basically like really quick bullet points or like, I know it has to cover these things. So as someone new going into it, doing something like that will probably be beneficial because it's like, you probably have an idea of the kinds of things you want to show, even if you're a brand new user building a tour, whether it's with Navattic or anything else. It's like you have an idea already of what you think you need to show people. So like start there and then just build it, get all your little screenshots in there and then publish as soon as you can, because then you're going to see, that's how you're going to see the results. It's like, obviously you can show it to your teammates and, other people you're working with, because they can give you the gut check on like, why are you talking about this? Like, that's not related to this topic that we're trying to show in this tour. But you really just want your site visitors or your customers to see those tours as soon as possible. And then you can make all the rest of the changes.
Yeah, it's so funny. So many people have said, like, just go in, build, get familiar with it. And then to your point, you can always go back, look at analytics, see where there are drop offs, make it better, but like, just get something out to get comfortable with it.
And I mean, I'll also say like when we started with Navattic, that was like, I guess we're coming up on almost 2 years of using it now. And when we first started, we asked the team at Navattic, like before we published, it was like, is there anything we're really missing? And I think it is a lot simpler than a lot of people think. And so it's like they gave a few tips about like maybe where to put like your CTAs and some of your buttons and like the length of it. So the Navattic team is a great resource, but ultimately it's like, well, hopefully your customers, or you're going to get to know your customers through publishing the tours. And so once you like just get it out there, once you get it out there, it's like, then you'll learn.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, last question for me for today. Curious, once you've gotten your demo out there for you all, whether on the website or in product, if you have any feedback or results that you can share.
For us, the qualitative results have felt so much more meaningful because like last year, like, yeah, we were in like the top 1% of Navattic demos. And so it's great to have numbers where it's like, wow, something like 30% of people are completing this and like they're spending multiple minutes looking through various tours. And that's great. But what gets me more excited is that we hear from, our sales team or our customer success team that they're talking to someone and that person said that like that tour helped them see exactly how they use the app and that it would make it easy for them to use the app. That like the tour specifically showed them like, yes, this is something I want to do. And that was especially big for us last year. We signed two pretty big partnerships with some corporate franchises, Tutor Doctor and Nine Rails. And in multiple cases, we have had franchise owners from those organizations say to people on our team, like, those tours specifically helped me see, yes, this is a solution that I need and that I could actually use it. Um, so, that just that makes you look good. That makes you feel good. That it's like a lot of people could be looking at our stuff, but if they're not taking an action afterward, it's like whatever. But we're specifically having people tell us that tour like was the green light or like was the light bulb moment to see that's like, yes, I want this, I can use it.
I love that. This was super helpful. I learned so many cool insights from this, Anna. And also, like you said, congrats to your team on being top 1%, building awesome demos throughout your entire go to market. And yeah, just thank you so much for spending some time today.
Yeah, thanks, Natalie.